Mayor Fry, Chief O'Hara, officers, first responders, friends, family members, members of the community, I want to thank you all for being here to honor my friend, Jamal. My name is Chris Dunker, otherwise known by Jamal as Slam Dunk. My wife and I are neighbors to Jamal and his beautiful family, Tori, Cohen, Jalen, Caden, and little Mason. Jamal was one of the first people who came over to our home to make introductions when we moved into the neighborhood. I remember thinking to myself, wow, this guy's really outgoing and has a lot of energy. Like, what's wrong with him? That was validated each time I would drive by his house when he was out in the yard with his kids, which was often. It didn't matter if I had the windows up or the windows down, I'd hear Jamal yell, "Hey, Dunk!" His kids, they quickly caught on, and whenever I'd be out in the yard or going to get the mail, I'd hear, "Hi, Dunk!" It would always make me smile, as it does today, and I still don't think they know my first name. Going forward, my hope is I'll be known as Uncle Dunk. On February 28th, I attended a memorial service in Eden Prairie for the 3 fallen heroes in Burnsville. It was the most impactful experience I've ever had around officers, first responders. Sitting in that chair that day, listening to stories being shared by their peers, I would never have, nor could I ever have, imagined that in just a few months, I'd be speaking at a service for my friend Jamal. I'm not an officer, I'm not a first responder, but even as a child, I've been in awe of you heroes. The sacrifices that you're willing to make for us is incredible. And so for the past 10 years, I've had the privilege of serving as the volunteer board chair for a nonprofit called Firefighters for Healing. The organization was founded by another hero, a second-generation Minneapolis firefighter, Jake LaFerrier. He was badly burned in a home explosion. We support as an organization first responders, burn survivors, and their families in their times of need. I share that with you because Jamal also had a heart of service. The list of places that he volunteered is so extensive, I simply don't have time to start sharing that list today. In making his decision to become an officer, he came to me and he asked if I would support him in being a reference on his application. I've seen a lot over the decade working to support first responders, and for 1 minute, I hesitated. Not because Jamal wouldn't be qualified or an absolutely incredible officer, but rather because I selfishly knew I wasn't going to be able to convince him to become an officer down the street in Corcoran or out in the suburbs. He wanted to be an officer that would make an impact. And boy, did he. So, I mean, who was I to keep this incredible human from serving his community? So, of course, I agreed to be a reference. And one of the questions on the referral questionnaire read, describe the applicant's character and reputation. I remember thinking to myself, how do you describe a man like Jamal without sounding insincere? I mean, he was always happy with that Colgate smile. He had tons of energy. He was the first to say hello to someone new. Incredible father. And just genuinely the type of person you wanted to be around. The day after Jamal's passing, our whole neighborhood got together to grieve and share stories about Jamal. During that gathering, one of the neighbors stood up and said, if you were to offer me $1 million to say something negative about Jamal, I simply wouldn't be able to do it. What does that tell you about his character and reputation? It tells me that he's exactly the type of officer that we need more of in the community. The stories that have been shared by the community about the impact that Jamal had are stories you'd expect to hear from a dedicated, tenured officer, not one that served Minneapolis for less than 2 years. However, as we've heard today, Jamal, in fact, was a decorated officer. In Jamal fashion, on his third day, he ran into that burning home to save the lives of an elderly couple. And I remember just a couple days later, looking into his son Jalen's eyes, telling him his dad was a hero. He was so proud of you, Jamal. There's a quote by Maya Angelou that reads, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." Well, Maya, there's another quote that reads, "There's an exception to every rule." And Jamal, you were that exception. We will all remember what you did for us, and we will always remember how you made us feel. To our first responder heroes that are here with us today and around the state of Minnesota that are joining us remotely, I share with you Matthew 5:9. Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, because they will be called sons of God." Into a world that is ugly with violence and hate, Jesus sends us peacemakers. You peacemakers, I want you to know we see you. We appreciate you. We support you. Tori, well, this may be the end of Jamal's service to our community. It's just the beginning of our service to you and your family. We love you, and we are here for you now and forever. Jamal, I'll miss seeing you play in the yard with your kids. I'll miss hearing you yell, "Hey, Dunk," when I drive by. I'll miss your Michael Jackson dance moves. I'll miss your competitive nature in our neighborhood board games and your complete lack of ability to draw a picture that resembled anything at all during Pictionary games. Most of all, I'll miss your bigger-than-life personality, but know this, at least twice a day, every day, as I begin and end my day, I will be thinking of you and that big, bright Colgate smile. Thank you.